Welcome to the Pickers Circle, and today we're talking to Gary Poole, and possibly some others will join us soon.
No, it is an interesting time. You could write about civil liberties you could write like a book. So how
Do you
did you
wanna-
have? You usually have some really useful vision for how these sessions might go. Did you have some thoughts on that for this one, Charles?
Well, I've sort of put something on the website, and I'll run it by you because I think we should do that. My take on this was that if you're looking for a place to start a song, well then there's two places you could start. You can start with a poem. I mean, it's got to scan and rhyme, I think. I'm not very much on stream of consciousness set to music, although perhaps it could work. And then, and a common pattern is useful. Like you could start with a 12-bar blues because then you know what the chord changes are going to be, and it's easier to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be kind of where I would start. And I guess the other thing that I think is really perhaps useful from the learning perspective is just this idea that the singer picks the key, but if you're trying to write music, it's really useful if you can do like this is C, D, and that's a scale.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the chords that if you're writing in C, if you use those chords, then they're going to work. If I can move the scale around and I can move the chords around, then I can play along with Graham when he cables up to A flat, which is a nasty trick that he often has.
I think his phone is actually tuned to A flat.
Oh, that could be.
My God, you could tell that?
One of the questions that was in the email, I'm going to paraphrase it, I think, is where do songs come from?
Yes.
So we can try to answer that question technically with scale and with pitch. And I think a lot of very, very good songs come from just a technical know-how. So people create chord progressions and they understand the musical theory behind those chord progressions. And from there, you've got an interesting sound. And from there, you come up with words. And maybe the chord progression inspires some kind of idea in the way of words. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're just going to write something that rhymes out of and fits some theme, whether it be love or protest or beauty. So, yeah, I mean, that's one way. That is not the way I write songs, for what it's worth. I have a reasonable technical background in music, although, Stu, when you got going on some of the stuff related to A flat and G sharp, I thought, oh dear, I should have fastened the seatbelt because I'm going to fall out of my seat here and it's not going to look good on Zoom.
I thought the same, Gary.
Thank you for that, Graham. Thank you. Thank you.
I thought, what the hell is he talking about?
Good.
I miss all this out, or something.
I only needed one ally, and thank goodness it was Graham. So if I'm going to start with a song that we can just say, okay, where did that come from? And I'll play a bit of it here in a moment. I was thinking about the number of times a song emanates from just something somebody said. And that led me to hypothesize, that songwriters actually listen to what people say differently than other people might. I once heard a guy who said, I think a very good songwriter locally, say, be careful what you say to a songwriter. And that made me laugh because there have been a number of times when that's exactly been the case. I was having lunch with someone who we ended up talking about Costa Rica because I know she'd been to Costa Rica probably 9 times with her husband. And she said, oh, Jim and I are going very soon, again, actually. And she said, yeah, it'll be my 50th birthday. And she said, yeah, on the day that I turn 50, I want to wake up to the sound of howler monkeys in the jungle. Well, I mean, everything stopped for me at that point forward. I just thought, whoa. So a song came out of that. that yielded this. It's just called 50. On the day that I turn 50, I want to wake up to the sound of Costa Rican howlers calling my name. I want to hike into the forest and gently walk around with creatures who are proud that they're not tame. On the day that I turn 50, I'm gonna make sure I'm aware of every deep and precious breath I take. I'm gonna spend a quiet moment for those who can't be there and be grateful for each friendship that I make. And on that morning, I'll be pausing to gaze up at the deep blue jungle sky. And if you ask me, I will say I'm amazed at how those 50 years flew by. On the day that I turn 50, I'm gonna do a little dance to celebrate a day without a care. And I promise to be grateful for this little chance to glide through the lush and humid air like this. And on that dawning, I won't be dreaming, my senses will be taken by what's real. I'll be listening for the calling that tells me I should love the way I feel. On the day that I turn 50, I'm gonna cut myself some slack and take a little time to just exist. And if the feeling strikes me, I'm gonna let myself think back and marvel at the story this all is. On the day that I turn 50, I wanna wake up to the sound of Costa Rican howlers calling my name. I wanna hike into the forest and gently walk around with creatures who are proud that they're not tame.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Good song. Great song, Gary. Thank you. And I'm wondering, Garth, have you any particular thoughts on songwriting that you'd like to share with the group?
I go with the words first, the idea in the words, and then I go for the hook. Whether it be verbal or musical or whatever. And the very first song I wrote, I thought I'll just, because I hadn't done much of it, I'll just compose it all with hooks. That's all she wrote on the paper, that's all she wrote. Too tall she wrote, and skinny, that's all she wrote. I don't think that this girl loves me. I don't think she wants to be my baby now. What was your first clue? She's not home. What was your second clue? She don't phone. What was your third clue? She's not zooming me. What was your fourth clue? She's no fun. What was your fifth clue? I don't need one. Because the third clue,
for someone who's not a songwriter, I think you write a pretty good song.
Garth, did that just start with words? Just like words on a page? You weren't writing to that great simple chord progression that was driving it?
Like I said, I was trying to make it up all of either musical or verbal hooks.
Great song, Garth. Thank you.
Yeah. Clue number one.
Well, I don't write songs anymore.
Well, back when you did.
Back when I did, I made my living as a writer, and it destroyed my creativity. So all my songs are old. The last song I finished, I started about 30 years ago and finished it last year. This one is an old one. One of perhaps three that I still am prepared to perform. And it's from the days when I did two things that I don't do now. I smoked and I wrote songs. Nothing to do but to sit here and smoke, play the piano blues. Wasted too far not to think it's a joke. I need someone's loving, but whose? Isn't it all written plain in my face? Why can't we take what we need? We are all rangers, we're strangers in space. Why can't I ask without seeming to please? Seems like I've been here before. Guess it was 10 years ago. I'm still asking for more. Was there something I missed? Did I just let it go? Somewhere someone's laughing, somebody's drunk, somebody quietly cries. I've been taking a walk through an old leather trunk. Think I got smoke in my eyes, in my eyes. Think I got smoke in my eyes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good song.
Thanks. I just have a couple of questions because that was fascinating. First of all, the assertion that you made a living as a writer and it drove the creativity out of you. I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I was a technical writer for a software company.
Okay.
Well, that would do it.
Yeah, it pretty much did.
Interesting. It's got this strange chord called an A suspended fourth. In it. Here we go. Pharaoh sits in his tower of steel, dogs of money all at his heel. Magicians cry, oh truth, oh real, we're all working for the Pharaoh. 1,000 eyes for 1,000 years, he feeds us all, he feeds our fears. Don't stir your sleep tonight, my dears, we're all working for the Pharaoh. Egypt land, we're all living in Egypt land. Tell me, brother, don't you understand? We're all working for the Pharaoh. Hidden from the eye of chance, the men of shadow dance a dance. We're all struck into a trance. We're all working for the Pharaoh. Idols rise into the sky, pyramids soar, sphinxes faces lie. Head of dog, Osiris Eye, we're all working for the Pharaoh. Egypt land, we're all living in Egypt land. Tell me, brother, don't you understand? We're all working for the Pharaoh. I dig a ditch, I shape a stone, another battlement for his throne. Another day on earth is flown, we're all working for the Pharaoh. Call it England, call it Spain, Egypt rules with the whip and chain. Moses, free my people again, we're all working for the Pharaoh. Egypt land, we're all working in Egypt land. Tell me, brother, don't you understand? We're all working for the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, he sits in his tower of steel. Around his feet, the princes kneel. Far enough, we should shoulder the wheel. We're all working for the Pharaoh. Particularly a metaphor for life in the US under Trump. But anyway, there you go. From school, Alan, right?
Straight from school, right off of my bike, Graham. I immediately.
Do you have any thoughts on what it takes to write a song and how you go about it?
I've been writing songs probably for a good 35 years. They started out being primarily just voice and guitar. I used to perform with a group called Madrigal's Muse, which had a choral background, so I was doing a lot of vocal arranging, and then I was writing songs that had like 4 and 5 part. I never actually decided on that. I would come up with some ideas for some lyrics, but no tune, and then I'd get halfway through, and then I'd write a whole bunch of the music, and then had to finish the lyrics. So it was kind of this symbiosis where both of them kind of morphed and developed at the same time. Sometimes the tune would direct the lyrics, sometimes the lyrics would direct the tune. And where ideas come from, I just had a great idea riding my bike to work the other day. There's this woodpecker outside my window making a hell of a racket. And I took a close look. It was sitting on a lamppost, metal lamppost, but it was wailing away, pecking at that lamppost. And I was thinking, God, there's a lesson in there for all of us.
We have one that works on our chimney up top, which has got a metal cladding, and it makes a terrible sound.
Yeah.
I thought it was my furnace had gone wonky to start with, and then.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that works on my neighbor's chimney exactly the same way. It sounds like a little tin drum. Why do you suppose they select those? It's just because they like the echo it makes in what they call their heads?
I think it attracts the females. You know,
Message sending.
You might have noticed that
sure.
as a common thing in music. Anyway, Alan, do you have a song for us?
Okay, so since this was about original music, I'm going to play one. And it was all after remarking just what a rut I was in and how difficult it was for me to find something new and creative because of my routines and the difficulty in breaking those routines.
That sounds good now.
Well, you know I'm always gonna choose the square caramel from the chocolate box. When we play rock, paper, scissors, I'm always gonna pick the rock. All my friends try their very best to help me mend my ways, but I don't see the danger. Play my songs in C major, and I don't think I need to change. Well, take a look in my pocket, and you will see there on the basic black. Ain't no one gonna argue with my fashion sense, 'cause everything goes with that. Well, I know I must do my part to do things differently. I'm running scared like a rabbit, I'm a creature of habit, and I don't know if I can change. wakes me up. Close my eyes, hold out my hand, and see who fills my cup. Hang my mirror upside down and stand upon my head. Gonna put my shirt on inside out and pull on a loose thread. Well, there's an angel on my shoulder whispering in my right ear, you gotta stay the course. I'm gonna pluck off his wings and dunk his head in my beer, and I ain't gonna show remorse. I'm gonna say goodbye to the status quo, put my faith in change. You know I can wear pink or yellow, choose a cherry marshmallow. I'm gonna stand on the mountain and bellow, I'm a heck of a fellow. I don't even have to rhyme the last line. Thank you.
Good job. Good
Thank
song.
Start with the music or the words?
Yeah, I would say that was more words, because I had the idea for the song and a few sort of things came running through my head. I just like the I don't see the danger, play my songs in C major. I love that line, and the running scared like a rabbit, I'm a creature of habit. I just
good,
had to get
that's
that
good,
into
yeah.
a song somewhere.
What's
It's
your
nice when you
background?
can get all that to work.
Yeah, I'm a psychologist, but it's really about words for me. I've always loved words, and it's interesting that Alan would cite a couple of his lines partly because of their rhyme, rabbit, habit, that sort of thing. And because I have written a couple of lines and I've just thought, oh, that just goes together very well.
Charles might be a bit more like me in that sense. Do you find it easy to write, Charles?
When I write, I tend to write music because it's I dislike wrangling with people over political things, and I've discovered that if you make things scan and rhyme and set them to music, Stu actually pointed this out in a song that he sang last time we were together. If you can make things scan and rhyme, then you're much more likely to be listened to. You said, I think it was Moses Ash, you said?
Oh, Mose Allison.
Mose Allison, yeah.
Oh, that's quite likely.
Yeah. Once you can put something into an artistic form, it passes a basic IQ test. I mean, no one at that point, no one can claim that you're stupid. They might say that you're wrong, but at least you put together a creation that can stand on its own. And I think I have a tendency to want to do that with political things. It's better to just write something like Justin, where you outline his actual deeds and make them rhyme and scan. And that tends to be more palatable to his fans, even though it's not entirely palatable.
Do I detect a conservative voter here?
Well, I mean, I've always said that I'm middle of the road, right between Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan.
You look to your left and you see only Genghis Khan, right?
Yes. Something like that. Tribute to somebody I think deserves a song in these days, and that's Julian Assange. And he's not doing too well, so I've had to upgrade this song a bit. I wrote it in just after Trump was elected. Now Julian sits in a London cell. Pompeo brought him down. Trump could have pardoned Julian, that arrogant orange clown. Joe, it's up to you and Kamala too, to see the justice done. There's not much hope, you're such a dope, and they got you on the run. Hey Biden, pardon Julian, It's a decent thing to do. Pardon such a little thing, and he done no harm to you. This is the history of Julian. So Julian sat in a London town in a dreary little room. The leaks come in from around the web, and he'd read them in the gloom. He'd post that dirt on WikiLeaks for the whole damn world to read. He had to hide, he was satisfied that he made the bastards bleed. Hey Donald, pardon Julian, it's a decent thing to do. Too damn late you met your fate. Hey Joe, it's up to you. No, Julian said the CIA was hacking all our phones. And seasick they've been watching you, I feel it in my bones. Obama has two great big ears, and he's on to you and me. Julian had a trove of mail for a whole damn world to see. Hey Biden, pardon Julian, it's a decent thing to do. Pardon such a little thing, and he done no harm to you. So Julian posts Podesta's mail for the whole damn world to read. And CNN fires Miss Donna Brazil, but her book's still a damn good read. When it hit the fan, it's a Russian plan, that's all I got to say. People vote, that's all she wrote, you know who won that day. Hey Donald, pardon Julian, it's a decent thing to do. Too damn late you met your fate. Hey Joe, it's up to you. So that's my thoughts on the politics of the day.
Okay, I'll do the last one that I finished. This is the first verse. It was old, and the second two are more current. I think it's in the key of A. I've been chasing another green pickup just to see if the driver is you. This one's kinda old and sorta faded by time, like the feelings between us two. And I don't know if you still drive a pickup truck, you wouldn't know that I grew a beard. All I can say is since you left me that day, things have turned out even worse than I feared. You remember I was going to med school, I was gonna cure all mankind's ills. Turns out that's not just what was being taught, they're just out there to sell a few pills. So I guess I got kinda disgusted, I turned to religion instead. But the brand that I chose wore the emperor's clothes, now my heart's as messed up as my head. So I'm still chasing faded green pickups, still scrabbling around for some answers. I guess you were wise when you kicked me aside and took up with that tall Spanish dancer. And if someone should touch, it might not hurt so much if I don't start that mad, desperate striving. This road keeps on bending, it seems never ending. All I can do is keep driving. I'll keep leaving but never arriving. And that's that. Green pickup truck.
Thank you, Stu. That was a good song.
Okay, I have to ask a question or two here. Coming back to this, if it's okay, Charles,
Go for it.
in the light of this craft, and Stu, maybe this is the same question I asked you before. What caused you to go back to that song? The opening verse is gorgeous, and that idea of chasing the pickup truck and so what sent you back to it?
I guess that verse, which I also quite like, cropped up in my head at some point and led to some further thoughts. I didn't have any way to take it any further at the time that I wrote it, but then there seemed to be a progression that led further ideas led from it after that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a beauty. I for one am very glad you went back to it.
It's a good song.
Thanks.
Yeah, way to go. Yeah, that's neat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, after the first one, I thought I'd write something more serious with less music. And this is Mary in Spring. I believe I love Mary much better than winter. Winter is cold, Mary is not. Well, the margin is fine, it's too much to get into. So desperate contrition is all that I got. I believe I love Mary much better than autumn, for autumn is short, Mary is tall, and unlike some seasons, she'll come when you call. I believe I love Mary much better than fall. I believe I love Mary much better than summer. Summer is warmer, but Mary is hot, and the summer's sweet heat is gone with the season. While Mary will always take all that I got. Just after winter and before the summer, there comes a season to make your heart sing. And although I know it's a terrible bummer, I cannot love Mary much better than spring. A garden in bloom is a marvelous thing. I cannot love Mary better than spring.
Oh, that is excellent.
Great song. That is.
That's very good.
So on the theme of relationships, I remember writing this song, probably one of the earliest songs that I wrote, when I was going in through counseling in a relationship that I was in, and I was thinking, man, this is hard work. I went to a very blue-collar neighborhood, and that's the nature of where I grew up. So I took it from the point of view of trying to work out a relationship coming from a sort of a blue-collar background. And it was called Matters of the Heart. Well, there's a tool for every purpose in my Father's shed. He still goes there now and then to fix the foibles of his life. He never throws away the things that he believes he'll mend. But I find myself in need of different tools. I find myself in need of different tools. And I have always understood steel on metal, steel on wood. But the matters of the heart, oh, hell, I don't know where to start. Could it be that my apprenticeship was incomplete? There are lessons never passed on from the parent to the child. Now I know that flesh and feeling need a lot more care. You can't toss them aside when things don't work. You can't toss them aside when things don't work. Oh, I have always understood steel on metal, steel on wood, but the matters of the heart, and I don't know where to start. And there's a tool for every purpose in my father's shed. He still goes there now and then to fix the foibles of his life. He never throws away the things that he believes he'll mend. Oh, I find myself in need of different tools. I find myself in need of different tools. I have always understood steel on metal, steel on wood, but the matters of the heart, and I don't know where to start, and I don't know where to start, and I don't know where to start. Thank you.
You felt like Will's right with.
Good song. Good song.
Very good.
How did you come to write that, Alan?
Well, like I say, I grew up in a rather blue-collar neighborhood, and I just kept thinking as you're struggling through counseling and relationship I thought to myself, you know, coming from a background without any sort of personal skills and so forth, I just liked the idea of all the blue-collar imagery thrown in with trying to work out a relationship. And lyrics like, you can't, you know, flesh and feeling need a lot more care, and you can't throw them aside when things don't work, sort of stuck out in my brain.
It's a good song. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the first song I ever wrote as a songwriter, and it comes back to perhaps 5 years ago. But I was looking for a topic, and of course I chose politics because I thought that was a good place to be a protest writer. And this is the Ballad of Edward Snowden. And Edward Snowden, for those of you who might have forgotten, was a contractor. He actually had the same job that I had as a systems administrator working for the National Security Administration. And in January of 2013, documentary filmmaker Laura Poitas started receiving anonymous encrypted emails from Citizen4, who claimed to have evidence of illegal surveillance programs run by NSA. And then 5 months later, she and Glenn Greenwald went to Hong Kong to meet Citizen4, who turned out to be Edward Snowden. As an IT guy, I can tell you that what Snowden did is not only feasible, but it's probably quite practical. I used to do somewhat the same things for Nova Chemicals. I used to monitor internet activity for bad behavior. And of course, Edward Snowden and company are monitoring the world for bad behavior. They just have better resources than I did. So here's the Ballad of Edward Snowden. Oh, and this in the folk tradition is basically a rewrite of an Irish song, and Graham will probably be able to tell me where I started by the time I finish this. Come sit right down beside me here, Snorri, I will patriot of note who hacked away the NSA, got Obama's goat. Already was sitting in a job that paid him well, but he couldn't stand the spying and he couldn't stand the smell of 100 million emails that would make the Stasi proud as they vacuum up the contents of the systems in the cloud. So one day Eddie writes a note to a fella named Glenn Grunwald at the Intercept, a fella with a pen. I have a tale, says Eddie, that'll put you on the floor, but first we need a secret way to speak to Citizen 4. We need to use encryption, we need pretty good privacy to keep our secrets out of sight as a spying agency. We're gonna need a password when we put things in the mail, and we'll need a damn good password to be staying out of jail. Now, Glenn was just a newbie, hardly heard of PGP, but he had a friend named Laura who already had a key. They got started with the system known as Tails. They conjured up a master key, they hope it never fails. The files are at the Intercept, go read 'em if you dare. The movie got an Oscar, but nobody seems to care. 100 million phone calls that would make the Stasi proud as they vacuum up the contents of the systems in the cloud. It's been a couple of years now since Ed left his cushy post and flitted off to Moscow with Putin for a host. Now he's living quietly, a guru of the net, who better knows the secrets that can make Kamala sweat. Go look at all those secret files, you scarce believe your eyes. 100 million secrets here, 100 million lies. Microsoft and Yahoo helping spooks read all the mail, and Clapper lies to Congress, but he never goes to jail. I'm just an old curmudgeon, and I never thought I'd see a good man has to hide away in Moscow to be free. 100 million phone calls that would make the Stasi proud as they vacuum up the contents of the systems in the cloud. And it's all to make us safer, sure, it's all to keep us free. That's why they read the emails of the likes of you and me. 100 million emails that would make the Stasi proud as they vacuum up the contents of the systems in the cloud. Thank you. Well, that's my second contribution to politics of the day. That one's 5-6 years old now, though, and not much has changed. I think Biden is probably just as keen to record everything as Trump, and as just as keen as Obama. You know. The more things change, the more they stay the same.